Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast. And here's your host, John Chapman.
What is going on, faithful? It's absolutely incredible to be with you guys today. I'm pumped about today's show. Now, every single year, whenever I'm doing this, the team is doing all this draft research, whatever, it takes me forever to finally bust out the big board. Like, all we do is gather, watch film, research, watch film, and I try my hardest to wait to put names on the big board. Well, now, post-combine world, you've got enough to finally check, like, okay, or no. And then you can finally get a little bit more of the solvency. Is that a word? Solvency? There we go. You're figuring out where these players go, because initially you're grouping them. And again, stealing from Move the Sticks podcast, and I love this reference. You're just trying to get players in the right neighborhood. Then you're trying to get them in the right street. Now you're trying to get them at the right address, in the right house, in the perfect spot. That's what today's episode is going to be focused on. I'm going to be going through, been working all morning, my top 30 players. And again, all these players I've watched at least one game on, several of them 2 or 3, but 1 through 30, my favorite top 30 players in this draft. Now, can it change? Yes, and it always does. As I watch more tape, as pro days, as, whatever, because a lot of guys didn't even do all the testing at the combine, right? And what you get whenever that happens is a lot of players nowadays, if they're bad at something, they just don't do it till late. So if you get some of these slow 40s or, arm length or verticals, whatever else, it just makes you go back and question explosiveness, top end speed, elusive, like for different positions, it matters. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I'm so excited about this. It's going to change. I know you're not going to agree with everything, and I don't agree with everything, but this is my first installment of my top 30. And we're going to go through and kind of break that down, and it's going to upset some people. I think there's going to be some shockers too. Now, this is episode 1351 of the 49ers Rush Podcast, and got to let you know, we are giving away an autographed Deebo Samuel jersey today live on air. So if you are watching this live, get your hashtag CC Countdown Crew in the chat to be entered. I'm going to be picking a random one. Appreciate you guys. David, what's up, John? How are we feeling today? Feeling great. I'm feeling great. We're in the middle of the week. We're getting a lot of answers. The NFL's got movement galore. You've got trades. Man, shout out to freaking Ben Johnson. And my biggest critique of him is, like, what's he going to do if he doesn't have an elite offensive line? Well, what's he do? Back-to-back days, less than 24 hours, goes and trades for one all-pro guard, Joe Thuney, and then goes and gets another guard on the other side. Teams that have a priority to fix certain positions can do it. 49ers don't prioritize offensive line. You haven't drafted one offensive tackle or center in 3 consecutive drafts. It's frustrating. You've got the Seahawks losing not 1, but 2 wide receivers. Tyler Lockett gone. He's cut. And the DK Metcalf, he is requested a trade. So, and for the people that are like, well, Deebo got a 5th. What's DK going to? DK is going to get more. DK is going to get more. One, his contract is way better, right? So Deebo, he had basically $48 million you had to deal with. DK Metcalf has 18. A lot of that's just the way the 49ers constantly restructured. It's the same agent. Shout out to their agent. Tory, I'm going to mess up his name anyway. Tory something. Anyway, he, what's it called? Waits for Deebo trade, public, executed, then your next guy that wants to trade. All right, now it's in that he's controlling the supply. Shout out to him. He's doing great work. But my guess is probably DK Metcalf's going to go for like a 3rd, because he wins a completely different way that every single team can use. Does not run the full route tree either. Not a complete wide receiver, but more of a wide receiver than Deebo, and his contract is easier. So if the Seahawks take $5 million right? Then the team that trades for him gets 13. Whereas the Commanders, when they got Debo, they took a $17.5 million. However that works out, that's between the two teams. But I think DK is going to have more suitors. You don't have to be creative. You can just put him at wide receiver X, have him run go routes, post routes, slant routes, in breakers, out breakers. That's what he does. He's not going to do a lot of complex stuff, but he's damn good. Right here, Aaron. Anyone see DK say he wants to be traded to a contender? I do like that. And I have to make space. This is something that fans do. I'm a fan, just for people that are watching this. I might have a contender for new favorite player on the 49ers. Drake Greenlaw's been that guy for a long time. And there's so many. George Kittle, Fred Warner. I just love those guys. But Diamador Lenore, I'm telling you, he is making a claim. He's making a claim for my favorite player. He goes out there literally like a couple minutes after DK Metcalf goes out there and says, I want to trade. I want to go to a contender. Diamador Lenore quote tweets him, says, bro, you can't leave Seattle. You're the only one that made that game any fun. I love the Hyena. I love the Hyena nickname. I think it fits. I freaking love him. So DK being traded or released or whatever, and Seattle losing not one but two wide receivers. Jackson Smith and Jigba is going to have 150 targets this next year. Him and Jake Bobo. If you're in deep dynasty leagues, go get Jake Bobo. They're going to have to draft some guys. But the free agent wide receiver market, it's just getting dumped on. Christian Kirk just got released. Devontae Adams released yesterday. There's going to be a lot more of these salary cap, whatever, that are going to fall. And yeah, I do like DK taking a shot at his own team. I want to go play for a contender. But they won 10 games last year. But it does not seem like that is going to be the case. We'll see. Right here, Golden Pick Podcast. As long as that card says Armand Mimbu with the 11th pick, I think people are going to be very, very shocked at where I have Armand Mimbu. I think people are going to be very shocked. Whether it's positive or negative, we will see. Love all the hashtag CCs. Get these in here, guys. Get these in here. Appreciate you. Again, we're going to give away an autographed Deebo Samuel jersey. All you got to do is put a hashtag CC up in the chat, however you're watching, whether that's Instagram, whether that's YouTube, whether that's Twitter, whether that's Facebook, doesn't matter. Yeah. Seattle's a mess. Coming off a 10-win. That's the thing. The 49ers are 6-10 last year. Awful. But it does feel like better than Seattle, who had 4 wins over us. I don't know. We'll have to see how it plays out. Love all the hashtag CCs. You guys are the best. Oh, look at that. Newt finally made it to a live show. That's what's up. Here we go, Sid. Right on time for my lunchtime. What's up, Sid? I love it. What day is it? I believe it's Wednesday. I don't know. My track of time since I'm homeschooling, I don't even have the take my son to school days anymore. So I'm a disaster. I think it's Wednesday. Anyway, appreciate you guys. Yeah, here it is. Tory Dandy. That was the correct name of the agent. He's doing well. He's doing really, really well. Demo, freaking love me some Demo. There we go. This is awesome. So I'm writing down a few of these hashtag CCs, and then I'm going to ask you guys to pick a number, and then that's going to be the one that gets it later in the show. So we'll announce the winner of the Deebo Samuel autograph jersey a little bit later. So now last show before on the John and Wayne show yesterday, right as we were signing out, there's a 10-second delay. And we got a super chat in from Trey Hall. And so I want to start off with that. Appreciate the generosity, Trey, on yesterday's show. Sorry we didn't get into your question. He says, are we rebuilding? I don't think that is an accurate word. I think they're not tearing down. What they're trying to do, and again, Tim Kawakami, and they're talking about how the amount of cash that the 49ers have spent and the ownership has spent the past decade has been insane. And it has been. I mean, you go all the way back to 2019 to now, money. Even that free agency class, you remember the first one in 2017 when you paid top tier money to get Kyle Juszczyk, Pierre Garçon, Quan Alexander. You go get, man, who was that one terrible linebacker that never played for us and got injured? He was a USC guy. Gosh, what was his name? I remember, like, what the hell? He was a Seattle guy, hyper athletic. Man, what was his name? Anyway, it's going to come to me, or somebody in the chat could throw that up there. But they overpaid that 20 set. Like, since Shanahan showed up, money. That has been everywhere. Now it seems like Jed's saying, oh, we got to back off some of this cash spending. And I don't like that, especially whenever you're raising prices for tailgating, you're raising prices for tickets, you're raising prices for drinks, you're raising prices for food, you're raising prices. Malcolm Smith. Thank you, Dr. Steve. Yeah. Malcolm Smith was that guy who just paid out the top end, and he never even played for us. He got injured, and it was a terrible sign, but whatever. I do appreciate, and I have given flowers to Jed York with how he has operated the cap and the cash spending for the 49ers. It's been great. But now it seems like he's pulling back on that. And that is a travesty. It's his money. He's allowed to do it. In the NFLPA, you don't have to spend all the cash if you don't want to. And there's plenty of teams that don't. And the owners just pocket the money because fans are going to go anyway. Well, if that is the case, which we haven't seen yet, it has been alluded to that cash spending is going to be pulled back. John Lynch talked about it. Does the Debo trade really fit that narrative? I don't think so. But we'll see. If you trade Ayuk, 100% that fits that narrative. You've got the Brock Purdy contract stuff being leaked out there. Consider the source always. And that person that started that story, I don't think has ever been right on one 49ers story ever. So I'm not saying the whole $45 million, whatever. I'm just saying consider the source. I'm not an insider, don't want to be, but that dude's not an insider for the 49ers anyway. And I think he's probably one of the worst accurate reporters of the NFL, if you want to call him that. So anyway, just consider the source there, but I would not be shocked at all by that number. I'm just saying, whenever I saw the source, I'm like, man, the 49ers never use that guy. The 49ers have several media reporters that they do use for information like that. He is not one of them. Has not been one of them. So I don't think it's a rebuild. I think that it is look, let's restore our foundation. What is our foundation? And again, offensively, I think it's Brock. I think it should be Ayuk included. And I think it's Ricky Pearsall. Juwan Jennings, I wish it was 1-year deal. George Kittle, we'll see what happens. Last year of his deal. Trent Williams, we'll see. He's long in the tooth. I think this would be probably his last year. I hope he keeps playing. CMC, we'll see. I think CMC signed for a few more years, but man, maybe 2 more years. You see what I'm saying? Offensively, I think it's Purdy. I think it's Pearsall, those two, and Ayuk. That's what I want the foundation to be. Defensively, I think Fred Warner could play for a while. He's 29. So it's Fred Warner, it's Diamador Lenore, it's Nick Bosa. That's your foundation on defense. So retooling, like, those 6 pieces are pretty freaking primetime pieces. So it's not a rebuild. It's just a refocusing. Whereas Trent and CMC and Kittle were kind of, in Debo, were the focus on offense. Not anymore. I think that changes, right? And so defensively, it's gone through some adjustments as well. So we'll see what that looks like. Right here, John, appreciate the super chat. What do you think of fans asking for CMC trade? My number one thing is buy low, sell high. You just re-extended him while he was injured last year. What are you going to get for him now? And so this is stupid analogy, but I'm going to stay with it, okay? I love dynasty football. I'm only in one league because I used to be in like 15 and it was just too much, so I cut down. So now I'm only in one league and it matters more. But I have Christian McCaffrey on my dynasty team. I ain't selling him no matter what, because what are you going to get right now? What are you going to get? I'm not, don't sell low. So if Christian McCaffrey comes out and balls out for, 2 to 3 games and you lose those games, even though Christian McCaffrey's balling out, then maybe at the trade deadline you do something. But man, if you sold Christian McCaffrey now with that contract, it got pennies on the dollar. What are you doing? You paid premium to get him. You gave up a 2, 3, 4, 5 for him. That was great. You re-signed him when you didn't need to. That was stupid. Niners have continuously done that recently. But no, I am not trading Christian McCaffrey at all, especially after last year. You know, everybody was like, well, without CMC, we can't do anything. Without CMC, we can't do anything. And I hated that narrative too, because Jordan Mason, gosh, was awesome. But people are saying trade Jordan Mason. It's like, why are we're trading our young upcoming star players, and we want to trade our old injury-ridden star players. Like, you can't just trade everything. You can't trade everything. You keep CMC. There we go. You keep CMC completely. You keep CMC. I ain't trading him. Not doing it. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. All right. Trading away Bosa? No. Oscar, any thoughts on trade away Bosa? I'd like to see what we could get. Stockpile picks. No, you don't trade away premium players. Bosa, you have locked up for long term. Like, Bosa's good. No. He's the only player that the 49ers currently have signed through 10 years. He is scheduled currently to be the only player to hit that decade mark, which is huge for me. You go into that 49ers locker room, if you haven't been there, they have a whole wall attributed to decade-long 49ers. Nick Bosa is the only one. You build around Nick Bosa. You build around Brock Purdy. I believe that. Now, the whole argument of, is he the best? Well, he's being paid the best. He's not going to be after this year. There's going to be some new contracts coming out. And there's going to be a lot new highest paid players at different positions. I'm not trading Nick Bosa at all. So without further ado, let's dive in. Let's do the 49ers. This is not the 49ers. This is John Chapman's, 49ers Rush. Top 30 players in this draft. Now, a couple things I want to put out there. This is not top 30 fits for the 49ers. This is the top 30 players for this board. Now, another caveat, I do not remove players for medical or character. I rank them and I flag them. So I have 5 players in the top 30 that have flags, whether that be injury, whether that be off the field, whether that be on the field, work ethic concerns. Now, again, with those 5 players, I'm not going to be the one that figures those out. I'm not in the medical checks. I'm not in the exam room. I'm not talking to quote unquote people that accuse so-and-so of so-and-so. I'm not doing that. And I'm not talking to the coaches. That's not my job. So I flag them. You do with them as you will. And you can discount them. You can say, well, this is too big of a deal, or this is not a big deal. These are players that have multiple different people cite. There's some questions with this. Okay, so that's where. So just keep in mind, I don't remove players. Look at this. As I just said, Nick Bosa probably not going to be the highest paid player for a while. And sure enough, the Raiders just announced a Max Crosby extension. Quote from Ian Rappaport, Max Crosby, one of the highest paid defenders in the NFL per me and Rappaport, just came across the board. 3-year, $106 million extension, $91 million guaranteed, making him the highest paid non-quarterback. Dude, I just said it like 2 minutes ago. That is awesome. It's a live show too, so I get credit for that. I figured it wouldn't be him. I thought it would be Myles Garrett getting a new deal whenever that happens, but obviously there's some issues there. Man, the Raiders just signed Alex Kappa as well to a 2-year deal and extended Max Crosby. So, wow, there you go. So the Max Crosby rumors of being traded done. And no longer is Nick Bosa the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. Man, I can't believe I just said that like 2 minutes ago. Pat on the back, John Chapman. I can't reach back there. I did shoulders. All right, here we go. John Light, a couple super chats. Then we'll get there. This is going with the earlier super chat. Thank you, John. Exactly. Thank you. Besides, what pennies would we get for trading CMC if he's healthy? Do you believe we will get a CMC type production for the draft? I don't think so either. I don't think we'll ever get a CMC type year like we did ever again. That's very, very rare, but that's not what you need for him to have a successful year. That's not what you need. Phil, appreciate the super chat, brother. He says, Lombardi says Greenlaw and Hufanga are likely gone and Mason may be traded. The Mason may be traded goes back to Matthew Berry, who's not an insider, again, fantasy guy, but he was at the combine. That's what he heard. Cool. And then you had Adam Schefter come out and say Greenlaw and Hufanga probably not going to be re-signed. I think that makes sense with the 49ers. I don't like it, but we'll see. And again, I'm not an insider. You have to prepare for both of those things to happen. Why you would trade Mason? Yeah, if you get something for Mason, if you get a third rounder or a fourth rounder for Mason, I think you take that trade. I'm cool with that because the Niners are not comfortable using Jordan Mason the way he should be used. And that's dumb on their part. That's stupid. The fact that they just refuse to check him down the ball, despite leading the NFL in rushing through 6 weeks. Man, other teams can use Jordan Mason way better than Kyle Shanahan can. That I have no doubt. Should you trade him? No, I don't think so. Especially whenever CMC's injury history, Isaac Guerrero ain't ready. So if you do trade Jordan Mason and CMC's banged up, what are you going to do? You better draft not one, but two running backs. So keep a young player that is on a team-friendly deal. Well, if you second-round tender him, he's going to cost $4 to $5 million. That's not a team-friendly deal anymore. So that's kind of the issue, is he outplayed that second-round tender, but the 49ers won't use him because Kyle Shanahan just won't. Not if CMC's healthy. So therefore, if CMC's 100% healthy, I get it. I wouldn't do it. I don't trade young, aspiring stars. And I've been saying since forever, Jordan Mason is that. He is that. In one of the greatest years of NFL running backs in NFL history, Saquon Barkley rushed for 2,000 yards. Derrick Henry almost rushed for 2,000 yards. Jordan Mason was ahead of both of them through 6 weeks in the NFL. Both of them. And he was a backup. We're not using him right. So if there is a team that wants to use him correctly, by all means, give me a third. If you're going to give me a fourth, no. Third round pick, yes. Yes, I get that. I understand that. Get younger, get cheaper. If you're going to have to tender them and just be right at that $5 million mark, trade them for a third. I don't think you can get a second, especially in a deep running back class. But trust me, somebody's going to want to get him. John has predicted the future. Can you say I'm about to win the lottery? Yes, you're about to win the lottery, but nobody wins the lottery except for the state. Yeah, there we go. Upgrading to Scarlett Johansson. Awesome. Anyway, all right. Now let's get to my top 30. You guys are awesome. Appreciate the super chats as always. My number one player ain't going to change, and I don't even have him medically flagged. That's Abdul Carter, edge rusher. He's number one by a lot for me. Now they found the stress fracture in the foot. They're going forward with no surgery and the pro day and all those things. I don't care. Premium position, premium talent, production's there. Yeah, he's number one by a lot. Like Travis Hunter is my number two. And I think he's a blue chip player. But even if Abdul Carter had to have surgery on his foot, I'm still not moving Travis Hunter up. Are there teams that will have Travis Hunter ahead of him? Yes, I will. Yeah, yes, there will be teams that do that. Not me. Not me. For me, it's Abdul Carter by himself. A lot of that is because I don't see cornerback, which is where I have Travis Hunter, slated to play with some kickoff returns, punt returns, put him in on some third down passing concepts. I think you could do that early with him, but it's Abdul Carter drop, Travis Hunter by himself drop. Like those two players are just in a tier of themselves. And you could put Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter in almost any draft. They're going to be top 5 in almost all of them. Do I think that they would be number 1 in almost all of them? I don't. There's not a premier quarterback. My Cam Ward's my number 1 quarterback. I have him at number 6. Usually quarterbacks get bumped up higher on this scale. I'm not super high on this quarterback list, but I do have Cam Ward 6, but he's outside my top 5. He's outside that. So 1, Abdul Carter, 2, Travis Hunter, number 3. This, again, numbers 3. I'm going to go 3 through 7 is a tier by itself. So, like, somebody has to be the number 3 player. That's kind of where this draft is. There has to be a number 3. But 1, 2 by themselves. Team that needs a quarterback, sure, I understand that. Cam Ward could still go number 1. But 3 through 7, very similar grades for me. Okay, so number 3, I have Mason Graham, which, like, I get if you want to move him down because of the weight, because of the, lack of athleticism, but the tape's just too clean. The production's too clean. Positive run, positive pass player, consistent production, makes everybody bet. Like, he's just too clean. He's my number 3. Would Mason Graham be top 5 in the last 5 drafts? Probably not. This is the weakness of the 2025 draft class. There's not the elite blue chippers. Not to say there's not a lot of first-round grades. I have way more first-round grades this year than I did last year. But as far as, like, guys in the top 10, like, Mason Graham is a first-round player, but he probably would have been, like, 10 or 11 last year. He's 3 this year for me. So whenever you compare them, kind of cross multiple year drafts, it's different. It's different, but somebody's got to be 3. And so I consider defensive tackle that second tier premium position, right? Quarterback, then edge, then offensive tackle. Those are the creme de la creme. Then that second tier of premium positions, I think includes, defensive tackles, corners, wide receivers. That's that next tier. And then in the bottom is tight end, off-ball linebacker, running back, safety. Just, maybe guards, interior offensive linemen belong in that second tier now. That's another adjustment that we keep seeing. Invader, Graham is the safest pick in the top 10. Probably right. We're getting more super chats on trades. Maybe I mistitled this show. Maybe this show title should have been, should the 49ers trade? That's probably would have got more clicks. That's why I didn't do it. All right, Leon, appreciate the super chat. Can they trade Mason for Meyer? They need a running back. We need a tight end too. I said a year ago that Jordan Mason would start on like 5 or 6 teams. And this was before training camp. I got a lot of pushback on it, and they're like, name 6 teams, or however many I said. And I was like, Raiders number 1. He's way better than Zonovan Knight. I think it was like, whatever, Vikings, but the Raiders were one of those teams. And I got into it with the Raiders, fan or whatever, content creator, back and forth about, no, he's not. Dude, it's a perfect fit. He is a perfect fit in that scheme. So you get reports that the Raiders are looking to trade Michael Mayer, who they picked 35th overall, which wasn't a bad pick, but then you go back and pick a tight end, number 10 overall. I get it, and I understand why he's frustrated. Michael Mayer is a more complete tight end. He can block. He's an inline guy, can move in space. No tight ends, Brock Bowers. Like, that dude is literally a slot wide receiver. It's just different. And so with Pete Carroll going there and kind of their offensive scheme and what they're going to be doing, they don't really have that much of a need for that tight end too. They don't do a lot of 12 personnel. 49ers do. Would I swap Mason for Mayer straight up? I would. I really, really would. Because I think the 49ers could use Mayer better than the Raiders do. And I think the Raiders could use Jordan Mason better than the 49ers can. How often do player-for-player trades happen? Not often. The one thing that I would say that would make it likely is they're both on not rookie contracts because we have to tender because, Mason was an undrafted free agent, but both in the first 4 years of their deals. You have Mason going into his 4th year. You have Mayer going into his 3rd year. I would do that trade. I think that's a win-win for both players and both teams and both salary caps. I don't think that there's a loss there. Is it likely? Probably not. Would I do it? I would. I'd be fine. Because I think Michael Mayer could get a 3rd round pick more than Jordan Mason could. Now, this running back class and tight end class are deep. But man, it's so hard to transition from tight end to the NFL. Mayer could do what we need him to do. Be our tight end too. And he's young. He could be the eventual Kittle replacement. Yeah, I'd be cool with that. The Newt. John, any gold helmet types you would give out your top 30? Yes, there are. I'm going to star this, but I haven't like delegated those yet. So I want to get to that at the end of today's show. That is a great question, Newt. And usually what we call them is we call them rush crush, guys that everybody else is lower on that we're higher on. So anyway, that's what it is. What's up, Rusty? We talked about you yesterday, man. Me and Wade, we were talking about you. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. So anyway, Mason Graham's my number 3. Ashton Genty's my number 4. I would never take him that high. Never. But he is just too good. And again, he's at like one of the least valuable positions, but he's just too good. There is nothing, whenever you look at Ashton Genty's tape, besides the fact that maybe he's got a lot of tread, worn off of his tires, but Genty's 4. He's going top 10, especially with what the Bears did with their O-line. You got 2 O-linemen. They might go O-line again, but 10 is now the floor for Ashton Genty. I think the Raiders are another. Again, we're talking Jordan Mason to the Raiders. They're in 100% win now mode. You hired the oldest coach in the NFL, Tom Brady. They're pushing all the chips in. They just extended Max Crosby. They just signed Alex Kappa. Like, Ashton Genty might be the most plug-and-play player that you can get in this draft, and they have a running back need. I would not be shocked at all. Would I take him there? No. That's just not how I value top 10 picks. Number 5. I told you guys you'd be shocked by this. I have Armand Mimbu number 5. I've not seen anybody else have him that high. I can't knock him on anything. He has one of the cleanest evaluations. Tape is clean. Athleticism, footwork's the best in the draft for any offensive lineman. You watch him against top-tier talent, owns them consistently. Whether that's Shamar Stewart, the number 1 freak, he's pancaking that dude. Nick Scorton handled his own against him easily. You look at him at the combine, check, 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 check. You look at measurements, check, check. Like, there is just nothing wrong with this prospect. Armand Mimbu, he is just slowly, steadily climbed. He's just that damn good. And every single team's going to have him. You're a power scheme, you got him. You're a zone scheme, you got him. You need a right tackle, you got him. You need a guard with left tackle flexibility, you got him. Like, every team, everywhere, will have Armand Mimbu on the board. So clean. Just too damn clean. Is 5 too high for him? Maybe. There's no way he's going to be there at 11. There's no way. There's no way. He's so freaking good. He's my 5th player on my board. Number 6, Cam Ward, my quarterback 1 and my only first-round quarterback grade this year's draft. That's Cam Ward, number 6. Number 7, and, the question of, is there a gold helmet type guy? Number 7, I'm probably higher on him than almost everybody else too. Jahdae Barron, cornerback out of Texas. I don't know. Again, safe, all about football, versatility, experience, at his best, first best. Like, people are talking about Jeremiah Smith, the freshman wide receiver at Ohio State. If he was in this draft, he'd be the number 1 pick. I agree with that. He's that damn good. You watch him against my man Jahdae Barron whenever it mattered most. Everybody for Ohio State balled out against Texas except for Jeremiah Smith. Jahdae Barron, when they were lined up against each other, clamps. And he did it against Alabama. He did it against Georgia. He did it against everybody. And so, again, is Jahdae Barron typically going to be a top 10 pick for me? No, but that's not this draft. Somebody's got to be there. Somebody's got to be there. And it's not just me that has that. Where's Daniel Jeremiah have him at? I think he's higher on him than I am. He has him 9. Yeah, Daniel Jeremiah has Jahdae Barron 9. I have him 7. But what I do is I put clean evaluations ahead of my question marks. That's my philosophy. I want clean. I want can't miss. Tell me why Jahdae Barron's going to miss. It's not speed. It's not tape. It's not experience. It's not versatility. He can play outside. He can play inside. He can play safety. He can play like mentality. Oh my gosh. That dude, he's just a badass. Team captain. Like, oh my gosh. Like, you can't. this is my process in my rankings, right? So the 49ers rush team, we compile all this data, and I'm not saying I'm right. I'm going to have misses. And yeah, every team has misses. The difference is I put out my 1 through 200. And so I could pick apart every single year because there are draft misses. But I'm telling you right now, Mason Graham ain't going to miss. Ashton Jeanty ain't going to miss. Armand Mimbu ain't going to miss. Jahdae Barron ain't going to miss. Will he be an all-pro? That's a different discussion. I'm not missing. And so whenever I look at somebody like a Jahdae Barron, who's I guess you got to say Travis Hunter's my number one corner, but you compare him to like a guy like Will Johnson, better coverage grade, better tackle grade, better zone grade, better in man grade, more consistent, more experience, no injuries, team captain. Come on. Like, he's faster than Will. We'll have to see. Will Johnson's supposed to test at his pro day, but there's flags there. So I get it. Criticism and dialogue are a good thing. I'm not the person. You don't have to agree with me. Obviously not. Probably smart if you don't. And that's whenever I get to number 8, and I put this out on Twitter earlier, I don't know what the hell to do. Because whenever I look at all these other players, I have number 8, Jahad Campbell. And I just can't put these other guys ahead of him. I'm too high on him. Why am I too high on him? Clean. And, he's one of those, if you want to value him as a pass rusher, cool. That's extra. He could be an edge guy. But he's one of the cleanest evaluation off-the-ball linebackers I have had in 3 to 4 years. I have a higher grade on him as an off-the-ball linebacker than Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell went like 12th, didn't he? Maybe he didn't go 12th. I want to make sure I get that right. I think that he is a better off-the-ball linebacker than Jack Campbell. But he has the pass rush upside. Where did he go? He went 18th. And again, it's not a top 10 draft. It's not a top 10 draft. I have Jahad Campbell over Jack. I'm sorry, I have Jahad. I got 2 Campbells right here. Jahad Campbell over how I viewed and how I graded Jack Campbell. But I had a second-round grade on Jack Campbell. I have a first-round grade on Jahad Campbell because I think he's clear upside and the pass rush productivity. If you want to put him on edge and you want him to blitz off the edge some, I think he could do that. Plus, he's a better coverage guy. Now, Jack Campbell was a better run defender. So what is it that you want? And I think in today's NFL, coverage linebackers and pass rushing linebackers, those are at a premium. And I don't think Jahad Campbell's a bad run defender. That some people are going to knock him on that. My problem is it's easy to say somebody's not a top 10 player. And I'm not saying you guys are saying that, but whenever I stack these players and I'm like, man, who am I going to take ahead of them? Well, there's issues. There's question marks there. Ted McMillan, he's my number 9, my number 1 wide receiver. I think that he has elite traits. I don't consider him. I think at worst he's a one-trick pony. I don't think he's Mike Evans. I don't think that he is Mike Evans. And when Mike Evans came out, that was a little bit rough because it was the whole Johnny football thing. Like, how much of this is manufactured, whatever. Well, it turns out Evans was kind of, helping Johnny football be Johnny football and all that stuff. But Jahad Campbell, I got 9. Jahad Campbell, I got 8. Ted McMillan, I have 9. I really like Ted. And if the 49ers do move off of Brandon Ayuk, which they should not, but if they do, Ted McMillan should be the pick because you don't have an X. He is the most X wide receiver in a wide receiver draft class with not a lot of pure X's. There's like 4 to 5. He is the most true number 1 wide receiver to come out of the draft in a while. Like, he is just that guy. Probably Jamar Chase was the last one that was just like, ooh. Because, like, even Justin Jefferson, who now is, like, the best wide receiver in football, in my opinion, that dude was a straight slot only at LSU. So you were trying to make a projection into X, which he did, and now he's it. He can do anything. But remember, Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson were on the same team, and Jamar Chase was the X, and Justin Jefferson was the slot. So were they wrong? No. But, like, the most true X to come out of the wide receiver was Jamar Chase, and then number 2 would be Ted McMillan. Is he going to have that type of career? I don't think so. Jamar Chase was a top 3 player for me in a solid draft with a lot of positive quarterbacks. So Ted McMillan's a step below that. And yeah, Invader. Well said. There are other ones. I think Trey Harris. I think Jalen Noel. I think Jaden Higgins. There are other X receivers, but I don't think that they have the upside of my boy Ted. Now number 10, and right here, yeah, Kelvin Banks Jr. I'm higher on him than almost everybody. I get it. And before people say, well, you got 2 Texas players in your top 10, I would bet. I think both of them are going top 10. I really, really do. And I'm low on some Texas guys. I'm super low on Isaiah Bond. I really, really am. And so, like, it's not just like all my Texas guys. I'm really low on Quinn Ewers. I am very low on Quinn Ewers. But I am high on these guys that are just so clean. And I do consider Kelvin Banks to be a left tackle. Did he perform as well as Armand Mimbu did at the Combine? Did he have the measurements as good as Mimbu did at the Combine? No, he did not. But his measurables, especially arm, freaking wingspan, they scream left tackle to me. Will Campbell's body does not. His athleticism does. So, like, there's only one tackle that says athleticism and traits, physical traits, show left tackle. That's Armand Mimbu, and he hadn't even played left tackle. Then you've got tape plus body measurements say left tackle. That's Kelvin Banks. And then you've got tape plus athleticism says left tackle. That's Will Campbell. So these guys that have a little bit more of a question mark have backed down. Kelvin Banks was my OT1, but the Combine, the amount of questions answered by Mimbu were not answered by Banks. That's why I switched him. And again, Mimbu is my 5. Kelvin Banks is my 10. How do the 49ers feel about that? I don't know. Now, if you are somebody that thinks you know exactly what's going to happen in the draft, you can go place a bet on who you think the number 1 overall pick is going to be. I still think it's Abdul Carter. I'm not changing it unless the team trades up for a quarterback. But whether you're betting March Madness, right around the corner, basketball, NBA, doesn't matter. You know where you got to go. If you're serious about sports betting, you need a sports book that actually works for you. And that's why I use MyBookie. I've been working with them for over 5 years now. And MyBookie, you're in control. Better odds, better wins, less hassle than other guys, with the biggest selection of player bets and prop bets. Early cash out options, live betting lets you jump in at any time. So if you miss it before tip-off or game time starts, guess what? You get to play your way. Whether you're locking in picks pregame, riding the action live, MyBookie makes sure you always have access to the action. It's not just sports. MyBookie hosts the party that never ends with full-fledged casino. They've got everything from blackjack, roulette, video poker, slots, you name it. So if you're new to MyBookie, sign up now with promo code 49ERS or use this QR code next to me. Get a deposit bonus up to $2,000. Remember, gambling's a marathon, not a sprint, and it's all about building up your funds over time. Don't settle for second-rate book. Bet smarter, win bigger, only at MyBookie. All right, time to give away the Deebo Samuel autographed jersey. Thank you to everybody who did the hashtag CCs. The winner is none other than Mason Davis. Congrats to you. I need you to email me, 49ersrushpodcast@gmail.com. And then I'll get where you want it sent and all that stuff taken care of. Mason Davis, congratulations. And I got to start doing more giveaways in the offseason. It's just, we started doing it early on, and I just always like making other people happy. Yeah, I'm always mad whenever y'all don't win, but we'll take that for whatever you will. A couple days, just want to check in on the chat. Also, Mimbu's 20 years old. That's true, but he does have a lot of experience. Will he fall to 11? I do not think he will. I think he is gone early. Any team that wants to tackle, he's just a safe player. Barron in our secondary would be a problem. Perfect fit. Absolute perfect fit. We could draft a DT second round. I like that. Third round. I like that. That is awesome. Some see Banks as an offensive guard. I don't. Yeah, he could play guard while Trent's playing. You slide him at left guard, sure. But in today's NFL, this is the new way. Yeah, look at what the Eagles do. Look at what the Cowboys do. So many teams, the Chiefs do. Man, start at guard, you kick to outside. Get players. It doesn't matter if he's going to stay at guard. That's what it is. It's not the plan. But yeah, Banks is also 20. There you go. There you go. Congrats, Mason. I don't know if he's still in here, but that's all right. Gabriel, he says, I think Mason Graham is going to fall to us. I'd take him at 11 if he does. Yeah, he's the third player on my board. I'd take him as well. All right, let's get to 11. My very first player with kind of character concerns and a guy that I think is a perfect fit. The Niners pick 11, James Pierce Jr. Several people out there, I'm not saying they're correct. I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm saying they're there. Character, work ethic concerns. You see his body and the shape he's in. Edge rusher out of Tennessee. Doesn't look like work ethic's a problem or practice, whatever. So I don't know. But James Pierce Jr., he is flagged, but the Niners met with him. So that's something that they are going to go through on their own. 11, James Pierce Jr. Number 12, my tight end 1, Colston Loveland. I wouldn't take him there, but somebody's got to be 12. And I just think he's such a damn good player. I freaking love Colston Loveland. I just think you look over the history, and I've done this a few times, the Colston Loveland of the drafts always has production. The big, huge size freak tight end, which funny thing is, everybody thinks that, what's his name? Tyler Warren's bigger. He's not bigger. He might weigh a little bit more. They're about the same size, but they were listed 2 inches apart and like 30 pounds more. So we'll see. Neither one of them tested the combine. I hated that. So we'll have to see. So this is a little bit pending because if Tyler Warren doesn't go out there and test elite, you have to drop him because his tape says he wins with elite athleticism and size. Well, the size has already been docked. He's lost that. Is the athleticism going to be what everybody says it's going to be? We'll see. I don't think Colston Loveland wins that way. He wins with incredible routes, hands, toughness, and just great at the catch point. That always translates. Always translates. So I have Colston Loveland sitting at number 12 on my big board. Mason Day. Oh, there we go. Appreciate the super chat. Glad you're here. Thank you so much for the jersey. What is the exact email so I get it right? Thank you again. That's what's up, man. Appreciate that. 49ers Rush Podcast at gmail.com. 49ERS Rush, RUSH podcast at gmail.com. Just email me and we'll get that taken care of. Appreciate you, man. And thanks for the super chat. I love it. I love it. I love it. Ooh, Josh, fool's gold is Pierce. I would believe that if he was a one-trick pony, which I was worried about until I turned on the tape. He's a speed rusher that is quality run defender. And so it's funny that you say that, Josh, because your guy was Robert Beal. I feel like James Pierce is Robert Beal on steroids. So Josh is somebody that I trust as much as anybody. He's part of our 49ers Rush team, but that is an interesting conversation. That is interesting. So I love that. I love it. So number 12, I had Colston Loveland. Number 13, I have Will Campbell. I don't know what to do with Will Campbell. That's why I kind of dropped him. I know a lot of people have Will Campbell as their number 1, and all they do is talk about how athletic he is. 32-inch arms ain't play a tackle for me. Like 34 is the cutoff for most teams. I think 33. All right, 32. That is there's nobody that has ever been drafted in the first round with 32-inch arms as an offensive tackle. It's never happened. At least in like the past 30 years. It's never happened. His athleticism is elite. His character is A+. His work ethic, his attitude, love. Dude can't play left tackle. People are like, well, he did play left tackle. And I've seen people show me where his arm tape or his arm length bother. You watch over our speed rushers, it bothers them. That's an issue. Can he play right tackle? Can he play guards? Yes. Is he a damn good player? Yes. Would I take him at 11? I'm cool with it. In our scheme, yeah. Could he play center? I don't think he ever has. But, I wouldn't be mad at that at all. Number 14, Tyler Warren. I struggled putting him this high, but the tape and the production is elite. I wish we had more testing information on him because his tests matter. I don't think Colston Loveland's matter near as much. You got Tyler Warren, who's not a great route runner, who's not a great blocker, but just wins with this elite athletic ability with the ball in his hands. I need to see athleticism. I need to see that. But I have him 14, which isn't super low. But for how much I talk about him, I figured I'd be a lot lower. But this is a different tier. Number 15, I have Malachi Starks. I wish he would have tested better. I wish he would have had better 2024 tape. I wish he would have had better production. See, once we get here, these are first-round players. But there's just so many questions. Is he a true free safety? I don't know. He ran a 4.5 flat. All right. He might just be a nickel. Are you going to take a nickel corner at 15? Is he a strong safety? Are you going to take a strong safety at 15? I don't know. That's kind of the issue is like, man, once we get here, there's questions. Number 16, I have Matthew Golden, my number 2 wide receiver. He's just clean. And the elite speed that showed up was a shocker. I thought he'd run fast. I didn't think he'd be the fastest wide receiver at the draft. That was crazy. You look at how he's had production for not one, but 2 teams and 2 systems. It was the primary target for not one, but 2 quarterbacks. Made the quarterbacks look great. And here's what probably my most pro Matthew Golden argument is. He made Quinn Ewers look better than Adonai Mitchell and Xavier Worthy combined. Quinn Ewers was rough but whatever. He's throwing to Matthew Golden, he looks elite. So if you made like a tape cut up of just Quinn Ewers throwing to Matthew Golden, you're like, man, Quinn Ewers is going to be a first-round pick. You make a cut up of Quinn Ewers throwing to anybody else, especially deep, can't do it. And that's including Xavier Worthy, the fastest wide receiver ever. I love Matthew Golden. Should the 49ers take him? No. There is a big dip between Tet McMillan at 9 and Matthew Golden at 16. Man, it's hard. Somebody's got to go there. Number 17, I have Josh Simmons, flagged. Patella tendon tear confirmed. Is he a first-round tackle? Yes. What you do with his medicals, that's not my argument. He's flagged. But even with the patella tear, he's pretty damn good. He's pretty damn good. Would I take him at 17? I would not. Would I take him at 20? I would not. But I don't have access to how well he's recovered. I don't have that. But he has to be a first-round grade. Now, Niners and NFL teams throw players off their board. I don't have that information. I'm just flagging him. You do with that what you will. Donovan Jackson, number 18. His replacement. Left guard, awesome. You want to play him center? Awesome. You want to play a right tackle? Awesome. You want to play a left tackle? Awesome. It's the ceiling as great as Banks or Mimbow or Simmons? No. But you know you're just getting a football player. Donovan Jackson, I would not be mad if the Niners took it 11. I really wouldn't. You'd start him at left guard, and then you just, wherever your hole is on the O-line, you just move him there, and it's no longer an issue. I really, really like Donovan Jackson. Tyler Booker, look at that. I got 3 straight linemen in my top 20. Tyler Booker's my number 19. Didn't like the athleticism, but the tape is just too good. The measurables are too good. The athletic testing was bad. He's a guard-only prospect with 34-plus inch arms because the athleticism is not there. But you put him at guard, plug and play, still one of the safest players in the draft despite the lack of athleticism. So good. So good. Number 20, my defensive tackle number 2. It's kind of crazy. I've got Mason Graham at 3. My next defensive tackle is all the way down at 20, and it's not who you think it is. It's not Walter Nolan. It's Derek Harmon. Derek Harmon is my defensive tackle number 2 and 20th player on my big board. Just disruption. I thought the athletic profile and the size, he has an advantage over so many other players because of how big he is and how athletic. He's got bend. He's got better bend than a lot of edge rushers. I really, 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 really like Derek Harmon. Number 21, I got Mikael Williams. Has to be in the first round. Production's not there, overcoming the ankle issue, but damn, he's good. I'd be fine if the Niners took him at 11. Walter Nolan, 22. He's flagged. Big time flagged. Not legal issues, but work ethic and kind of whatever. Yeah, he's got to be. He's got to be. Is that accurate? Is that correct? Don't care. So many rumblings about, and the 49ers met with him. So they have their answer. They have their answer. 23, I got Will Johnson. He's flagged as well, medically. Now, report came out this morning that he's relatively cleared. Why didn't he work out at the combine? He's going to do the pro day, so we'll see. But I'm not drafting a corner with bad production last year. He's got a hip, he's got a groin, he's got a turf toe, he's got an ankle. He's got it all. So it's kind of like Mr. Operation game. Just like, man, you pick your poison. He's got it all. Is the athleticism there? Is the tape there? 2023 it is. You go watch that national championship game, which everybody remembers. He took over the game by himself. He was the MVP. He's that good. I'm not touching him. He doesn't have the experience. Hasn't played very much. Damn, he's good, though. Corners with bad wheels, I ain't got nothing. That's just not something I want. Now, maybe this is a problem of mine because I loved Caleb Farley. I loved him. And I loved Derek Stingley. They both had issues. Farley didn't pan out. Stingley, I was right on. I had Derek Stingley in my top 3. And I bet big that he would go top 3, and we got paid big time on that draft prop. And I was right. I wasn't right the first year. Everybody's like, man, why don't you have Sauce Gardner number 1? Would have been right to have that. But I was also right to have Stingley where he was. That was correct. You look at the better corner this past year, it's not even close. Derek Stingley, I think he's closer to Patrick Surtain than any other corner in the NFL. He's that damn good. Anyway, 24, I got Mike Green, flagged, major off the field. Not 1, but 2 sexual assault accusations. Never was, legalized or arrested or whatever, but kicked off of not 1. His high school got kicked out. It got kicked out of Virginia as well. I'm not digging into that. Do with that what you will. Do I think he's on the Niners board? I do not. Jalen Walker, number 25. I'm not as high on him as many others are. I'm not. We have the draft breakdown. We did the tape, the 49ers rush, which I just loaded a tape yesterday. We did Femi Oladejo and Carson Swissinger. Gosh, man, I really like Carson Swissinger. That dude was fun. So that's up, but we've done tape on almost all these guys. I got to keep adding more. But I didn't like the tape of Jalen Walker. Now, you watch the Texas game, he was at his best. That's a negative on Kelvin Banks Jr. for sure. He whipped his tail. He's the only person that whipped his tail. He did it twice. But, man, I don't like Jalen Walker as an off-the-ball linebacker. I like him as a spy, and I like him as an edge rusher. But I don't like him as an edge rusher like any of the guys ahead of him, and I don't like him as an off-ball linebacker even close to Jihad Campbell. But the athleticism, the profile is elite. It's great. Leadership. I mean, he's a guy. I just don't know where to put him. I don't like him as an edge rusher. But that's where he's going to go. I don't like him as an off-ball linebacker. I understand I want to be lower on Jalen Walker than everybody else, and I'm okay with that. Micah Parsons type for sure, and he could be great. I just hope he goes to a 3-4 team. I think it's going to be better for him to be in a 3-4 system. I really, really do. But everybody runs multiple now. 26, I got Kenneth Grant. He had to fit in there somewhere. Is he only a 2-down player? I don't care. He's kind of a poor man's Jalen Carter, but way cleaner off the field. Ugh. Anyway, Emeka Egbuka, 27, Ohio State, wide receiver. Nick Emanwari, safety, freak athlete. Gosh, man. Yeah, he's awesome. South Carolina, Omarion Hampton. I got 2 running backs in my top 30. Niners met with Omarion, and I think that dude's going first round. He's going first round big time. And my last player in my top 30. This has been a fun list. Gray Zabel. Oh, I freaking like that dude. He's so good. And, tomorrow's show, what is tomorrow? Tomorrow's Thursday. I wanted to say this. I got a really cool question. We're going to go in depth on Gray Zabel, North Dakota State, probably center type and all that stuff. We're going to talk a lot more about him tomorrow. But yeah, so that's my top 30. I do have omissions for sure. I don't have Luther Burden in there. I don't have Shadur Sanders. I don't have Harold Fannin Jr., even though he's right there. I almost put Harold Fannin Jr. as my 30. Nick Scorton's not in there. Donovan Ezraku, Landon Jackson. Shamar Stewart's not in there. Alfred Collins not in there. TJ Sanders, Darius Alexander not in there. There's a lot more players not in there. But that's my top 30. right here. How is Eman Wari that low? He was an All-American. He's a stud. And if you want to move him up more than that, I don't have a problem with that. My problem, I have him as a first round player. I don't know if he's a true free safety. I get he could play it, and he's got the speed and athleticism, and I get that. I don't know. I think his eyes are good. I think he diagnoses. I think the unique size. I get it. The speed. I don't like his tape as much as everybody else, and I'm probably wrong. But the position he plays, I don't like that. And I have Malachi Starks probably higher than him too much. I just love that 2023 tape. I feel like he was like a borderline top 5 player. That's a fair criticism, Alex. He's played a lot. I mean, he's got the experience, got the versatility. And we have body types that are like this dominating with Kyle Hamilton, Derwin James. He fits it. That's a legit criticism. Well said. I'm not sold on free safety with Eman Wari as well. I agree. Yeah, he's awesome. He did miss a lot of tackles. He's got a 7% missed tackle rate. It's not awful. It's not awful. Yeah, that's probably legit. It's a legit criticism. So my top 30, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I had fun putting it together. I really, really did. So tomorrow we'll be on with Coach Approach with Coach Ant. That's going to be fun. We're going to be talking Zabel, which is going to be fun. I have him ranked 30th. What do you do with that? We're going to talk on tomorrow's show. So the NFL is going to continue to be crazy. Lots more moves expected to come. We'll see if we start to hear some more 49ers news come out. I hope not. No news is good news sometimes. You guys are the best. Until next time, stay strong, faithful.